As a therapist with a new private practice, bookkeeping is probably completely new to you and you're probably not sure where to start. One of the things that I see people struggle with is categorizing their transactions. They might not know exactly where to put certain things, and it gets a little bit daunting and discouraging because you don't want to use that much energy to think about how you're going to categorize certain things for your bookkeeping. In this video, I want to go over very common expenses that I see with my therapist clients and where you could be categorizing those within QuickBooks or a spreadsheet if you use a spreadsheet. If you're new here, my name is Jenna Andrada, and I help therapists in private practice feel confident about their bookkeeping and their taxes, and also provide cost-efficient resources so they could dedicate their financial resources to building their practice and, of course, to pay themselves. If you're new to bookkeeping, you might not be using an accounting software or a spreadsheet or anything to track your receipts or your finances, which is okay. However, it does need to change, and you should probably do that sooner rather than later. We always have to remember that bookkeeping is an ongoing process. It's not something that you'll do just once. The longer you wait, the more it will pile up on you and the more overwhelming it's going to feel as well. When you're doing your own bookkeeping, you want to make sure you're categorizing everything in the appropriate place. This is important because you want to be able to provide your accountant, if you do your own taxes, you want to have the right information to do your tax returns. It's going to make it so much easier if you're putting everything in the right place within your bookkeeping system. And when you standardize your transactions and how you categorize them, it just makes your bookkeeping go a lot quicker and a lot easier. That sounds pretty easy, right? And in a sense, it is. However, I see when people get stuck on certain transactions and they're just not sure how they should be categorized them, if they're even tax deductible or anything like that. The first step I want you to take is go to the link in my description. Make sure to go to my storefront. Within there is a free resource with the common deductions for therapists in private practice. Make sure to get that so you could have some type of reference of how you could start categorizing things. And also, so you could have a reference guide to determine if something is tax deductible or not. This right here is my bookkeeping spreadsheet. I'm going to use it as an example. Feel free to go to my storefront and download this spreadsheet so you could do your own bookkeeping, especially if you don't have QuickBooks. The first thing I want to talk about is whenever you hire somebody to do your own billing, they're the ones that are submitting claims for you. They're the ones that are following up with the insurance, and they are the ones that are making sure that you are receiving payment. When you hire a biller, make sure to put that under biller service fees. The second one I want to go over is going to be similar to the biller service fees. However, we call it a referral service. And they do the billing for the therapist, so that's why we call it a biller fee. But this isn't the same as hiring an individual, for example, to do your billing for you. This is more so for something like Alma or BetterHelp, where they are sending you referrals and they're doing the billing and then they're just paying you out. The next one that you want to think about is whenever you have services like Psychology Today, or you might be using Therapy Den, and that's going to go under the directory and listing fees. The next couple of things sound very similar, but they are different, and they are all different in terms of how they're deductible, and that's going to be your insurance fees. So as you can see, we have your health insurance expense, and then we also have your life insurance, and then we have our professional and business insurance. Now there's other type of insurances, but these are the most common ones. It's important to differentiate them because your health insurance expense could be deductible if you don't have a way to get health insurance somewhere outside of your business. So for example, if you are married and your spouse is covered through their employer, the IRS is going to want you to go with the employer before you write it off as a business deduction, which is something that I really don't understand, but it is what it is. The next one is your life insurance. Now, life insurance is not deductible. Now, we have to remember that life insurance is tax-free when you die. So whenever you die and you have life insurance, all that money is not going to be taxed. So the IRS doesn't allow you to deduct your life insurance because you're not going to get taxed on it later on. And then finally, we have our professional and business insurance. Now, this is deductible, and this is going to be more of your errors and omissions. If you have malpractice insurance, it could go in here. Also, if you rent or you own a building, like an office building, you're going to have a general liability at bare minimum. So that could go under this category. Another one is when you go off to a conference. So some of the conference items are travel expenses because you do have to travel for work, especially obviously if you fly or if you get a hotel. But a really great place to categorize your actual conference expenses is going to be under the training and continuing education. Coaching services, for example, are going to go under here. You also will have those continuing education resources that our clients purchase. That's also going to go in there. Now, remember, categorizing everything with the correct category is going to be very important, especially when you're doing your taxes, being able to identify what's deductible and what's not tax deductible. So while it's important to have all your transactions and to keep record of like your bank statements and your receipts, something like this, right? Whenever you do your taxes, looking at your bank statement is just a nightmare because you're trying to figure out where everything goes. Having something like this is going to help you keep track of all of that. The way that I created this spreadsheet is to give you all that information that you need to do your taxes and also for you to see how your business is doing. Hopefully you found that helpful. I will say categorizing transactions is something that a lot of people struggle with, including us. Sometimes our bookkeepers aren't sure where to put things, so we personally use this type of list and like this chart of accounts where we identify all of these type of transactions are going to go within here. That's just going to make it a lot easier to do the bookkeeping as seamlessly as possible. Well, that's going to be it for me today. Make sure to check out my storefront. I have several resources that are free that you could download, and I have a couple of other things in there that are for sale, including my spreadsheet. So make sure to go ahead and check that out. I really thank you for your time, and I'll see you next time.